南无本师释迦牟尼佛，南无本师释迦牟尼佛，南无本师释迦牟尼佛。We pay homage to our respected teacher, Shakyamuni Buddha. Good. Oh, we are starting a new chapter today. This is a chapter 3? Yeah. Chapter 3, finally, we finished one chapter. We're starting the chapter, is called The Breath. Okay, nice chapter, but I've got nothing to talk about. So difficult to think about this topic this week. I don't know, my brain was all stuck. I couldn't think of anything to talk about. But anyway, don't worry. I think you'll have enough to talk. Okay, this is a very funny picture. You know what that is? Don't tell me it's a turtle. It looks like a turtle, eh? It does look like turtle skin. It's not turtle, I tell you. I can guarantee you that it wasn't a turtle. A tortoise? What is the difference between a tortoise and a turtle? There is no difference?
French and English.
Huh?
French and English.
Oh, really? No. Tortoise is smaller, turtle are bigger?
No, opposite. Turtles are smaller, tortoise is bigger. That's what I understand.
Oh, really? Okay, so what did you see from this picture? What are these green things called? Moss. Yeah, moss. 地衣啊，中文叫做 Chinese is called 地衣, the cloth of the earth. The cloths of the earth. Isn't it, eh? Cloths of the earth. 地衣. Anybody have anything to talk about the cloth of the earth? The moss, M-O-S-S, moss, or about this picture? It looks like a deep water, deep dive, like digging underwater. Waifun, yeah. Waifun. Turn on your mic, please. Turn on your mic.
Good evening, Sister.
Good evening. Yes.
I want to ask, is that
Moss. Moss, yeah.
Can have oxygen for them?
The moss? Oxygen for what? For who?
For the turtles?
It's not a turtle. It's not a turtle. It's not a turtle. No, it's not a turtle. It's not a turtle. It's a tree. It's a bark on the tree. I think it was a. Say that again.
Will they have oxygen?
Will the moss give oxygen? I don't know. It probably will be. That's why it's called a moss, because that's why it's called the cloths of the earth, because moss is actually feeding the earth, feeding whatever that is that it is growing on, giving nutrients and oxygen to whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
No question.
Oh, okay, that's a question. Okay. It is a. Let me try to remember what tree is this one. I think it's a cherry blossom. We used to have I think it was the big white cherry blossoms tree that we used to have, the two big white cherry blossom tree. Let me try to remember. Yes, yeah. It was the big white cherry blossom trees. on the cherry blossom trees, yes. So, nobody say anything. Nobody see anything from this picture. Oh, Irene, good. I hope your mic will work. Very good.
I fixed it before class, so that's
Okay.
quite reset.
Okay.
I'm seeing a little bit of, like, from the trunk, just right below the moss.
Yeah.
It looks like there's an animal or fish head looking at something with two eyes.
Really?
Can you see that?
Yeah.
With the mouth?
Oh,
It looks scary.
it looks scary, eh?
Yeah,
You've got very good imagination.
doesn't it look like
No? No,
a fish? There's eyes. Like, if I'm looking at the screen,
I didn't see the eyes. Where where were the eyes? Where are the eyes?
Right below, just like right below the moss, a little bit of the moss.
Oh, the red one, you mean?
Not the red one,
Oh.
the green one.
The
Like,
green
if I'm
one.
looking at
Oh,
it
there.
on my right,
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Oh.
that's just like a snake or an
It-
animal or something.
It does look like a snake. The skin of the snake or the skin of the turtle. It does look like that. That's delusion. That's delusion. And you allow your own delusion to scare you. How mindful are you? How mindful were you?
Very mindful because I see that picture.
Okay. Good.
But simply, if you don't tell this a tree,
Yeah.
I thought it's in the water, it's a stream, and it's the rock or something.
Yeah, right, yeah. But I remember when I took that picture, I remember it wasn't a sunny day. It wasn't a sunny day. It was, I think, you see the blurry thing at the back? It could be ice. It could be ice, yes. Yeah, I think it was ice. Yeah, it was winter day. I remember that. And that's why there is this shiny layer over the whole surface of the tree. It's ice. It was covered with ice. Yes. Yeah. So, yeah. Next time I would. I can always try to find out which day I took this picture. With going back to the original, I probably will find out. But I'm sure it was in the winter. There was ice. Yes, Catherine. Okay. Catherine. Yeah.
Good evening, Sifu and everybody.
Good evening.
Sifu, I supported Irene because in the book, the picture looks a little different from what is it on the screen.
Yeah.
And then when I look at it, it does look a little scary. And that, like, that reminds me of the aquarium. And that's like the crocodile. When you go
Oh,
to the aquarium,
crocodile. Yeah.
and then they are just moving on very shallow water, and that reminds me of that sutra that it is a sutra. It said like water in the pond is getting less and less. The fish in the pond is getting less and less, and that's why we have to be diligent.
Yeah, the water in the pond is getting less and less, and so is the fish. Yeah, living in. Yeah. It's
No
true.
way that it is moss in a tree when we look at it.
Yeah. You see how our perception could mislead us from the reality. Yeah, the perception. Yeah, okay, good. Thank you, Catherine. Anybody else? Michelle. Hello. Are you still in lockdown?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, it's
Is
almost 2 months now.
Yeah, I haven't been working for 4 months, I guess. Like 4 months.
Huh? I can't hear her.
4 months.
4 months lockdown?
Yeah, 2 months for full lockdown, but the ring has been closed for 4 months. So I've been staying at home for this.
Wow, 4 months lockdown. You could easily do a long retreat. Right. Yeah, okay, good. Now the floor is yours. Yeah. There you go.
Hi, Steve, I haven't said hi yet. Hi, everyone.
Oh, you just wanted to say hi. Okay. Hi. Okay, that's good. Hi. Everybody say hi to her. Hi, Michelle. Yeah. Yeah, cheer her up. You know, we're locked down for 2 months. Yeah, she does need that cheer up. Hi, Michelle. Okay. Yeah.
I have the same feeling as Irene and Catherine because in the book I feel it looks like a river. Not river, it's just like watery.
Yeah.
And then in this photo I also see the goldfish because it's the little dot, the little orange dot there.
Yeah.
I don't see it. It's just like I feel it's like a goldfish. Some goldfish there. And to me I see impermanence and opportunity.
I see.
It reminds, when I see this photo, I don't feel comfortable, and also I read the passage that you said about the fish without water.
Yeah.
It reminds me the feeling that I almost drowned a few times when I was young.
Oh.
But me, I got saved by the lifeguard.
Yeah.
So it also reminds me I have to cherish like when I'm still alive, like because I don't know if I can still wake up tomorrow.
Yeah. 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 Good.
Very
Good.
amazing.
How come I didn't see the eyes? I couldn't see the eyes. I couldn't see the animal that they mentioned. Did you? Can you? No? Huh. We must.
If you look at the book is more clear.
Really? I
Yes.
don't. I can't see it.
Huh?
No. Oh, is it this bit? Oh, it's like a turtle head. Yeah, this is the big mouth, and these are the 2 eyes. Oh, a rocky fish, Sakbana. Huh? A rocky fish. Here. Sakbana. Yeah. Very expensive fish. If you want, it's a cuisine. It's a cuisine. Cuisine, like, huh? Cuisine, yeah. Very expensive. Here, there. That little blob of turtle skin. On the, here. The mouth, the 2 eyes. Now you see, yeah. They scare themselves with no reason. With no causes.
So it was January 5th, 2015. Oh, they are definitely in the winter. Yeah. Wow, where did you get that from? Oh, the flicker. Oh, okay. You see, we've got such a good secretary here. Yeah. Okay, good. So, put down your imagination. Just look at the picture. All right. You still have something to say, Michelle? No? Your hands is up. Your hand is still up. Okay. You finished? Okay. Bye-bye. Bye, Michelle. Okay. Good. Okay, anybody else have something to say about this picture? Anybody here? Grab the mic, please.
Turn it on, please.
It's on. Even on screen, but even in the book, when I look at this picture, I know immediately it's moss, and I know immediately it's winter. I did think it was in water, but what strikes me is how amazingly resilient moss is, that it can be so brilliant and vibrant in the middle of a cold winter.
Yeah.
It's,
So strong, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it didn't survive this summer.
Yeah.
Too hot.
It'll come back.
It will, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moss is actually very, very resilient. Yeah. Anybody else to say anything? Versha? No?
So I think when I see this picture, I like the close-up and the detail of the tree. And I'm always amazed by ferns and lichens and moss and how symbiotic they are with the tree.
Yeah.
So when you get up close to a tree, you can see there's so much more life on it.
Yeah.
And they work with each other, which is it's just a really nice thing.
Yeah. And I never know that there are so many different kinds of moss until I really start to look closely. I remember when we walk up to Mount Tom, some of the moss are so pretty and so beautiful. And when they flowered, wow, it's just so amazing. Yeah. Yeah, good. That's all? Nobody else? Symbiotic. I haven't heard that word for a long, long time. Okay, yeah, symbiotic, mutually benefit each other, right? Well, I have nothing to say about this picture. I have said enough already. I like it because I think the different contrast of the color, the black and the green, actually, and then the whitish, like wavy ice on the back is just make this such a, I don't know, as Laurie said, vibrant picture, and through that green, I can see that life of the moss, the life of the moss, and green is always like my favorite color, but not to wear, not to be worn, but like everywhere, and so that's why I like evergreen trees. I always like evergreen trees, Yet I don't quite like too vibrant colors tree, like maples and all that. I think they're too colorful. And of course, sometimes it's nice to see one big row of maples. When they turn color, it's so vibrant. But yet, when they turn like to be so like brownish and then start to fall, it's just that impermanence is so vivid. I love evergreen trees myself. Yeah, don't you? Yeah, especially in here in Canada in the winter, we need evergreen trees, otherwise we'll be all like anxious and depressed. Okay, so the passage that go with this picture is the breath is the fountain of our lives. Without it, we are like fish without water. Isn't that a beautiful picture? I didn't take that. It's from the, whatever you call that, 365 PowerPoint presentation. It's offered free. So you all agree the breath is the fountain of our lives, don't you? Yeah? Without it, we are like fish without water. So breathing, the breathing that we take every day in and day out, is actually, we were born to know how to breathe, right? Once we were born, we actually know how to breathe already. But how come we only started to learn about the breath when we get so old? I mean, before we started to learn meditation on breath, we can call it anapanasati or whatever. We seldom know that, we seldom pay attention to it. A lot of times we actually take for granted of the breath, right? Really. So, so the breath, but how come we never knew to start earlier? How come? Huh? Our ignorance, yeah. And I think we just take for granted. We just take for granted about whatever that we have in life. And we all know that with a breath, we take in the oxygen from the atmosphere, and then we give out the carbon dioxide. That's the natural process, exchange process, right? So so our life actually, I mean, this really existing on our own, that life I'm talking about, okay? Independent of our mothers, okay? So that life exists really start with our first breath, right? Let's start with that first breath. But babies do breathe in the womb. Do you know that? They learn how to breathe, but they don't really breathe like we do. So they get the oxygen from the mother through the umbilical cord, right? So they do actually practice breathing movements while they are in the womb, because they need to train up the muscles and everything. So, but they don't actually breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. Okay, so like we do, because this exchange actually takes place through the umbilical cord and the placenta. So for us, the breath actually provides oxygen to all these cells in here, to the body, to the cells. And the breath can actually affect so much of these bodily functions, right? If we are, like, remember when the pandemic just started, there is this rumor thing going on, is what, how many you take a breath in and you count how many? 7. Only 7? No, 70, right? No, 7. Oh, then that means you don't have COVID, right? Remember that? That was this rumor thing going on, like you take a deep breath and you count from 1 to 7. That's so easy. No way. I think 1 to 70 is more like it. Then you won't have COVID. That means your lung functions are perfect. Then you don't have COVID. That is the fastest COVID test that one can do, but very unreliable. Right? So but breathing does actually affect our body so much. You know, the heart, and also when we are stressed, when we are anxious, then our breath actually does change. So when we breathe in, actually can anybody tell me where does breathing happen? Or where does breathing happens through which, where? I mean, what can I say? Does breathing only happens at the nostrils? You look doubtful, though. No, I'm not doubtful. You're not doubtful? Okay, so answer the question.
I'm not doubtful.
You turn on the mic yet?
It's on.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, I mean, I would like to say it's everywhere, but I'm not going to say that. I think it's obviously through the nose, and then the diaphragm is involved, the lungs are involved, the stomach is actually involved. So it's a lot of apparatus, but I know that when you take the breath and the cells circulate it around to the body, so it's actually a whole system.
Very good.
Oh,
Did you teach biology before?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, it really just, it doesn't just limit to here. Actually, the whole body breathes in and out at the same time as we take breath in, take the air through here. And so the whole life actually starts with this first breath. So can anybody tell me how many breaths we take in, or how many breaths we take for each minute as human being? If you don't know, count now. How many? You never know. Kwok, you should know. Yeah, between 15 and 20. It's about like 16 and 17. So in a year, 16 breaths, if it is 16 breaths per minute, in a year, how many breaths do we take? Have we taken? Almost like 8 million. That's a lot, isn't it? But animals, like dogs and turtle or tortoise, dogs breathe faster than human beings. Tortoise or turtles breathe slower than human beings. Can you guess how many breaths a turtle or tortoise take in each minute? Really? That's too many. Yeah. 2 to 3. Yeah, they can really keep the air in there. They have big lungs probably. And because you see, that's why they live longer. So you can see actually deep breath increases lifespan. And it's very logical, because with these deep breaths, that means your body actually have more oxygen, holding the oxygen longer in there, isn't it? But when we are scared, we hold the oxygen so much shorter, like hyperventilating. We're actually hardly holding the oxygen in our body. And you can see a turtle actually breathes about 2 to 3 times a minute. And you can imagine how long that oxygen stays in that body, right? So with shallow breaths, we know it actually slows down the body, the heart rate by if we slow down the breath. So this breath is really, if we control the breath and change the breath, we can actually control the state of mind. Right? You all agree, because you're all meditators, so-called. You're all big laughs. Yeah, so-called meditators, right? So you should have experienced that by controlling the breath, you actually can change the state of mind. And that's why this breath meditation is so useful, and it's because it really brings on a lot of benefits. So when the baby was born, after the baby was born, then when it was delivered, or when it is delivered, his lungs are still, not working yet. But once it start to take in the first breath, the lungs will start to go into, it's mechanical work. About within 10 to 20 seconds after delivery, the baby will take their first breath, and then it will start to respond to the drastic changes that he or she experiences in the environment. And when the baby is so amazing. When the baby is born, when it takes the first breath, it's just like like this gasping of air. But when we die, the last breath we take, exactly the same. Gone. When that's gasping, the last gasping happened, and when once breathe out that last gasp of air, that's it. So you can start to see this whole life cycles. Everything is just like a cycle going round and round, a circle, or you can say circle, cycle, whatever. It's the beginning, the end. And remember when we talked, we discussed that before about life and death. When we were born, the first thing that the baby knows how to do is taking in the air. And then what happens? The four elements work reverse, isn't it? Work reverse. From air to fire, to wind, and then to earth, right? But when we die or when we get old, it goes the other way, is earth, water, fire, and the wind, right? So it works reverse. And look at that. It's like a cycle, only reverse cycle. Yeah? So we can see that it's actually, I think it's a very amazing thing to see in life. And actually it's an amazing reminder to us also. That's how samsara exists, right? Going in circles, or going in cycles, you know. And it's called cyclic or cyclic existence, right? Okay, so our life starts with our breath. And it happens, just happens 10 seconds after we were born. And then it goes on by itself. It goes on by itself. You see, us, human beings, we can do without food. For how long? Depends on how big you are. Okay. Oh yeah, the bigger you have, more fat to burn, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's good. That's a good answer. And we can go a long time without food, right? And then without water, we will go less, right? And how long do you think we can go without sleep? 7 days? 8 days? 2 weeks? No. Oh yeah, you can go without sleep for 7 days or more. Yeah, it's scary, isn't it? Yeah, but yeah, you can go without sleep for a few days, few days to 7 days maybe. Without causing major damage to your nervous system. But there is one thing that we cannot live without. That is the breath. Right? We cannot live without this. And our life all starts with this breath. So this is the first thing we ever know how to do when we come into the world. And it is one of the last things that we do when we exit. So, and this breath actually, sustains our life. Without it, none of this will work. None of this will work. The eyes, everything, it doesn't work. Okay, so there is nothing, and there is no thriving, and there is no life. So, for something as fundamental as this breath is so fundamental, but we never pay attention to it. How ignorant we are, right? And we don't treasure it, we don't cherish it. Only when we start to fight for the air, then we start to think, where's my breath? Right? So, this is so important. And the breath, anybody studies biology before? I did. So, the breath, the breathing is regulated by our nervous system. We call it the autonomic nervous system, right? You have heard about that before? Oh, you don't? You haven't? Oh, okay. Anybody? You have, right? So anybody could tell me the autonomic nervous system actually are made up with two parts, two different nervous system. You forget? Oh, you remember, Kwok? No. Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Then should we talk about this? Because it's actually nice to know this. So it's made up by two type of nervous system in the autonomic nervous system. One is called sympathetic nervous system, and the other one is called parasympathetic system. So the sympathetic system is like prepares us, our bodies, to be able to react very quickly to stress and danger. That's what you call fight or flight. Okay, so remember, sympathetic system. Okay, fight or flight. So that fight or flight response actually make our body to react with very increased heart rate, blood pressure, blood sugar, and dilated pupils, and quick speak. Because why? We need to respond very fast because it's danger. Okay, and the breath become very, very shallow and very, very quick, very fast. So this actually allows us to have an opportunity to actually fight back or to run away. But this system or this reaction or this type of reaction also creates a lot of stress for us. Okay, so you don't really want to work up your sympathetic system. You don't. Okay, so if you're really constantly working up your sympathetic system, then you are really you are stressing yourself a lot mentally to release those stress hormones, which will elevate our blood pressure all the time, and also put a very strong burden on our cardiovascular system. So when that is all worked up, our immune system would be really weakened. It will really have to do a lot of work to keep it up. So you will easily feel run down, exhausted, anxious, sometimes unmotivated. That is the reaction of the sympathetic system being worked up too much. Okay. But yet, this human existence is so amazing. There is such fight and flight, but there is another system. It's called parasympathetic system. which help us, which actually has a calming influence, because it slows down heart rate, it lowers blood pressure, and it helps us to promote better digestion. So this human existence is really amazing, really. And so if we could actually work up this parasympathetic nervous system, it will really bring a lot of benefits to us. Okay, that's why a lot of so-called healthy exercise actually advocates a lot on using deep abdominal breath, because it actually helps you to work up the parasympathetic system. Okay, so by slowing down or speeding up our breath actually can help us to trigger these systems and giving us some control over our mental state. And of course, with the mental state being in control, then it affects our physical state or physiological state. So that's why, we actually can change our physiological baseline by actually working on the breath. So it's very interesting, this breath thing. Okay, I know it sounds too biology or too scientific tonight, but it's nice to understand more about this breath than just knowing that there is this breath. Okay. So remember, consciously taking control of our breath can really alter our mental state. Okay, that's why sometimes when I used to work at the hospital, sometimes when we get so stressed, especially during in operations or whatever, naturally this human mind would tell you to take deep breath, like that, and we don't have to learn it. It's an instinct. It's inborn. It's innate ability. But we forget about that all the time, right? We forget how useful it can be. And that's why we need to learn. We need to go back and learn how useful the breath could be, all right? So we know that the breath has never left us, and it is vital for our lives. And somebody who have very deep meditative state, the breath could become very, 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 very subtle, but it doesn't stop. But only people in the very high jhana state, fourth state and above, that breath could literally stop, but not anything below that. Okay, so we share our breaths our mothers share their breath when we were in the womb, but when we were born, then we are independent. The breath never left us as long as we live. And it is the most important support for our lives, but yet we always constantly forget about it. So if you start to really see how important breath is for us, hopefully that could be a really strong reminder for us not to forget about our breath, to remember our breath all the time. And we know that without it, we cannot go on, our lives cannot go on. So that's why the Buddha taught about the breath. He started to realize how important and how calming and of the breath when he was very, very small. You heard about the story, right? when he was attending a plowing ceremony with his father, right? He found it so boring that he sat beneath a tree, and he just went to observe his breath, and he just went into jhanas, right? And so after he started going into the forest and started sitting in meditation, and he realized that what happened, which method I can use. So he went back to use the breath. And at that time, he was in the fourth jhana. And, that was the state where he actually attained enlightenment. So the breath is really not just very, very minor thing. It is important as our human existence, and it is also very important for our spiritual life, for our spiritual growth also. So you remember Po Lam Buddhist, right? Samantabhadra Bodhisattva, Po Lam Buddhist. And Po Lam Buddhist had actually advised us something. That is his admonition. He said, the day has passed, our lives thus shortened. 時日已過，命亦隨減. Like fish in insufficient water, what do they rejoice? Or shouldn't use we, for what do they rejoice? 如小水魚，斯有何樂? So strive on diligently and vigilantly, as if putting out the fire on your head or on your hair. 當勤精進如救頭燃. Be mindful of impermanence and be cautious, do not slack off or becoming too lazy. 大念無常，慎勿放逸. So this is Po Lam Buddhist admonition. You can actually find it in Dhammapada also. 時日已過，命亦隨減，如小水魚，斯有何樂? 當勤精進如救頭燃，大念無常，慎勿放逸. Also in our evening prayer, evening service, because Po Lam Buddhist always wanted to remind us that time is very precious, and our breath, when lives are very precious, that means our breath are very precious, because breath sustains our life. Okay? So without this breath, without this life, we are just like what? Fish in very little water. And what kind of fun do they have? And you can see when fish really in very shallow water, they struggle. They struggle, and they wag it, not they wag their tail, they really struggle with the tail, and then wanted to get more water, more oxygen through the gills or through the scales, so that they can live on and survive. So this is actually very, very, I think it's a very alarming reminder, right? So remember, when we have our life, what should we do, really? When we are living, what should we do? We constantly remind ourselves, what should we do? And that's why in the Buddha's teachings, is that we should have the right kind of efforts, right? Remember the 4 right kind of efforts. You all remember now. And you agree that I have talked about that before. Right? The 4 right kind of efforts. So you all smile and you all laugh. That means you all know the answers? Good. So can you share your answers? 4 right kind of efforts. Like what?
So you want to cultivate good deeds, and you want to sow the seeds. So you're cultivating the ones you have, and you're sowing the seeds for new ones.
Good.
And then you're taking out your old bad habits, unwholesome seeds.
Yeah.
And then you're taking them out, and then you're preventing more from coming in.
Yes, the weeds, right?
Yes,
The weeds and the seeds. Good, very good. The weeds and the seeds, right? Good. So those are the four right efforts. So remember, do not always have a sort of wishful thinking that, oh, I still have time. I can wait to change myself. Don't always have that wishful thinking in the back of your mind. Never know. Okay. So I want to share with you a sutta today. It's Maharahulo Vada Sutta. So you can, when you look at this word of, the name of this sutta, and you should be able to guess, was this actually sutta was taught to, who was taught to, taught to whom? Rahula, yeah, Rahula, the son of the Buddha. So in this sutta, actually the Buddha taught Rahula about non-self. And the Buddha said to Rahula, the body doesn't belong to us, and it is not me, and it is not mine. It is only a form, and because we don't own anything, certainly not material stuff, then Rahula, after listening to what the Buddha taught, and Rahula thought, okay, then who would go to the village for alms today, after being advised by the Buddha about this non-self? So who will be going for alms, right? Is Rahula going for alms? Or is not Rahula going for alms? Who is giving alms to? Is it not Rahula getting alms? Or, Rahula was sort of like puzzled. So he turned back. He was going out for alms, and he turned back. And he found a tree, and he sat down at the root of a tree. And then he sat down, and he went into, with his body very, upright and erect, and he tried to establish, mindfulness. So when he was really meditating, Sariputra went by and saw Rahula. And Sariputra said to Rahula, develop mindfulness of the breathing, of the breath. He said, develop mindfulness of breathing. When mindfulness of breathing is developed and cultivated, it is very fruitful and beneficial. So Sariputra, actually Venerable Sariputra, at that time he already attained arahatship. So Venerable Sariputra actually taught Rahula the mindfulness of breath. Oh, he didn't actually teach him, but he asked him, just go to be aware of the breath. So Rahula, after listening, heard what Venerable Sariputra said, so he went. He started observing the breath. Then in the late afternoon, Rahula came out of his meditation. He went to see the Buddha. He bowed, and he sat down to one side and said to the Buddha, Sir, so how is mindfulness of breathing developed and cultivated to be very fruitful and beneficial? So he asked his father, the Buddha, about the benefits of observing the breath. So the Buddha said, well, practicing breathing exercise or breathing meditation is really, really fruitful. And continuously practicing the mindfulness of the in-breath and the out-breath is of great fruit, of great benefits. So he started to tell him this. He said, Rahula, because you are sincerely practicing the mindfulness of the breath, that's why it will bring great fruit and great benefits. If mindfulness of breath is practiced continuously, remember, continuously, and your last breath will be in knowing, not in unknowing. You get that? That means you will be able to know about your last breath. You won't skip it. You won't miss it. So that's why in the past many teachers taught that by this mindfulness of breath, you can actually reach Nibbana. You can actually reach enlightenment. Okay? And of course, we all know it's not just the mindfulness of the breath. When you are so much into the breath, you will just naturally develop this insight of impermanence and anatta. Okay, so in this Tathagata 548, you can actually look it up on Sutta Central. He said, one who has gradually practiced, developed, and brought to perfection mindfulness of the in and out breath, as taught by the enlightened one, illuminates the entire world like the moon when it is freed from clouds. So on a full moon day, if there are no clouds, you will be able to see supermoon. You'll be able to see the details on the surface of the moon. So the Buddha actually experienced that himself when he was a child, when he was attending that plowing festival. Okay? And when he actually attained enlightenment, or when he went into this profound meditation state with the breath, he actually attained enlightenment there. So you can see from here already, you can see the fruits of just observing that incoming breath and the outgoing breath. It is like the moon, which is free from clouds. That means our mind is free from what? All these pollutants. Clouds are so analogous to pollutants. Yeah? So you think it is, oh, really? That simple, spontaneous practice of this observation of this breath can really take that can really bring so much fruits? Of course it can. Because the Buddha said something deep in his mind spoke to him. He says, that is the only way to enlightenment. When if you read about his path to enlightenment, you can see all these words there. So that's why he strongly recommended it to us. So he said, this, Rahula, is how mindfulness of in and out breathing is developed and pursued as to be of great fruit, of great benefits. And he said, when mindfulness of in and out breathing is developed and pursued in this way, even one's final in-breath and out-breaths are known as they cease, and not unknown. So we can see the breath is really not a simple thing. It's really not a simple thing. It is one of the, I think, the most precious gift that we have. I mean, not money, not millions of dollars, not full wardrobe of brand's name clothes or shoes. No, it's the breath. Really, without it, none of those matters. None of those is useful. right? Yeah. So this is what I have for you tonight. Okay, you all right with this breath thing? Yeah, good. You have anything to say? Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Thank you, Sifu. When I first saw that picture, we were all starting to puzzle over it. I thought, wow, why is it this picture? Why is it this picture for this passage? And then as you started teaching, and then when we came to this, I thought, this is it. Because at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Nobody knew. Is it a fish? Is it a turtle? Is it moss? Is it a rock? Is it a tree?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's really how it is, especially at the beginning with meditation. Is where's the breath? Where am I supposed to feel it?
Yeah.
Really? And then it's gone. And
yeah.
what's
Am I
happening?
controlling my breath?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many,
Yeah.
so many unknowns, and everything is so unclear.
Yeah.
And this is what you're working towards, right?
Yeah,
Is clarifying
yeah,
that
yeah, right.
picture.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. Good. Yeah. You know, sometimes people, that's what I said on Sunday. Sometimes people find that really we spend so much time just to look at just to feel the breath. Isn't it boring? So bored. I have students coming to me in retreats. They said, is there anything new that we can do? Right? Have you experienced that before? Is there anything new coming up? Is it this? Really? That's it? Whole day? 12 hours? Even when we lie on the bed? Really? Yes, really. Yes, Irene. Irene. Hi.
I just want to share that, you know, when we take things for granted. It's just like every sentient being has the Buddhist nature. It's just covered by the delusion. So it's just like.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but you see, Buddha nature is so difficult to comprehend, right? Even especially for those people who are not Buddhist, so-called Buddhist, right? You tell them that you've got Buddha nature, they punch you in the face. You can only say that to people who actually are buying the Buddhist teachings. You know, if those people are not buying the Buddhist teachings, don't say that to them. Right? But the breath, you can say it to everybody. Whether they are Christians, whether they're Catholics, they're Muslims, they're Chinese, they're English, they're Europeans, whatever, whoever, you know, you can just tell them, you know, the breath, just observe the breath. Right? Agree? Yeah. So, I mean, yes, but you respect them of the Buddha nature, but you don't have to tell them that they have the Buddha nature if they are not buying that teachings. But so that they don't then they don't become enemies to you. They if you tell them the breath, they will become friends to you. Right? Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you, Irene. But yeah, you have a good point. Yeah, I mean, it's a good point to always constantly remind ourselves that we have this wonderful quality in us. It's the Buddha nature. But Buddha nature is compassion and wisdom. That's all. But still, but so obvious. It's so obvious, and everybody has it, and everybody can start to know that they have it. Right? It's so easy for them to comprehend that they have it. And because they can survive without it. Then, you know, then this is something that you need to bang on their head so that they realize it. Right? And don't and when they say that, oh, so bored, you say, yeah, then you stop breathing. When you stop breathing, then you will, and when you suffocate yourself, then you will, whether you will still say that it's bored, it's so bored, right? So, yeah, it's really not boring. The breath is a very, very, it's so rich. The experience just by observing the breath is so rich, so much. Every breath is so different. Okay? All right? Good. No questions? No comment? No? You look like you have something to say.
I'm just thinking about.
Here comes the microphone.
I just keep thinking about when I first started meditating, and I was still teaching in the classroom, and how apparent it was to me when we started meditating together, and I had the students paying attention to their breath, and it was just there. You could just see it, and they could feel it, and it was, sorry. It was so apparent.
Yeah.
And so they started to learn that they could even modify how they talk to each other. If they were upset, they would go to separate corners until their breathing calmed down, and things like that. It was really such a powerful tool.
I know. Yeah. I still remember those kids at school.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really, it was such a experience, precious experience for that few years that we actually went to your school.
Yeah.
And did those meditation classes with those kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I miss that. I do
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I see that power, that powerful ability could be developed when they started earlier, when they started young. What was the youngest age that we, 6, right? Grade 2? Grade 3? Yeah. 7. Yeah. I mean, even the 7-year-old at that time, it was just amazing. Yeah. Let alone the older ones, right? But when they get older, they forget about it. Or when they get older like us, then they will want to learn it back again. It's so strange, this human being. Right? Yeah. Now we are fighting all the time, struggling with our mind, trying to focus on the breath. If we would have learned it earlier, sooner, I mean, we would be so good at it. We don't have to struggle anymore, right? Yeah. Yeah, you see, she knows. Okay, all right then. Let us dedicate our merits. May these blessings extend to all, that we, with all the other living beings, together will attain the Buddha way. May we wish more and more people will encounter the wise words of the Buddha, study them, understand them, practice them, and help themselves to be happy, to be peaceful, and eventually to liberate from their own sufferings.